welcome to the March JB Partners Smart Club webinar. I hope all of you are staying healthy. We thought it would be really important in this time to talk about the 10 best ways to reduce stress now. So for any of you joining us live, I want to welcome you. And if you are hearing this on the replay, don't forget to join our Smart Pride Facebook page, which is where you can ask questions and follow up and participate in additional ways to reduce your stress. So let's jump right in. The 10 best ways to reduce stress now. Number 1, breathing. I love this picture because it just goes to show how we don't see the air that we breathe unless we submerge ourselves underwater, and then you can see all the bubbles. But under stress, our brain increases our heart rate, which causes us to breathe faster and more shallow, which then that limits our critical thinking, our focus, our decision making, and we develop something called foggy brain. So especially in times of stress, in times of crisis, in times of high pressure, in times of where you feel like you're at a point or a crossroads, taking deep breaths physiologically and biologically reduces your stress response. Not just if you feel stressed, but it reduces your stress response at the biological level. And what's important to remember is that our 5-10-10 rule is the number one stress reducing technique because it's called diaphragmatic breathing. And when you breathe diaphragmatically, in for a count of 5 and out for a count of 10, you are actually exhaling the carbon dioxide in your lungs. And most people shallow breathe not because of any condition, but merely because they haven't exhaled long enough to release all the carbon dioxide. So when we do that, our bellies will actually rise and fall. That's why when people tell you to do meditation or progressive muscle relaxation or yoga, you want to see the fall of your breaths, because that's when you know you are releasing the carbon dioxide in your lower diaphragm, and to be able to inhale all of that oxygen. And our brain needs oxygen to function properly, especially at times of high stress. So the number one thing you can do for yourself in any given moment when you are feeling stressed, pressure, at a crossroads, feeling stuck, feeling emotional, feeling irritable or angry, is to do the 5-10-10 rule, is to diaphragmatically breathe. All right, let's jump into number 2. This whole webinar is nothing but coping methods. So, fruits and vegetables. Healthy nutrition goes towards our immune system. Now, our immune system repairs itself while we sleep at night. And so, since one of the side effects of stress is a lack of sleep, where we worry or we ruminate over things, or we just relive things that happen throughout the day, and we don't sleep, it lowers our immune system. So that's why when people have stress events, they typically get sick, or cold sores, or canker sores. Excuse me. So boosting your immune system during the day with your nutrition is essential for stress management. So if you are, again, feeling that pressure at a crossroads, feeling stuck, emotional, whatever, reach for some vegetables or fruit before you eat the junk food. Now, I am not saying not to eat the cookies or the cake or the ice cream or the salty vinegar chips when you're stressed. But if you eat the fruits and vegetables before you eat the junk food, you know you are at least fueling your immune system in a healthy way so that it is uniquely prepared for when you sleep. Now, how about those people that have insomnia when they, oversleep when they are stressed? I know people that they literally can take naps and sleep for hours because their body just shuts down. Their brain shuts down because the brain cannot manage the stressor of the day. Well, those individuals, science shows, don't enter REM sleep very often, and it's that REM sleep that we need that boosts our immune system. So even though they might be sleeping, it doesn't mean that it's a healthy sleep that rejuvenates our immune system and our bodily organs and prepares us for the next day. So reach for fruits and vegetables with your junk food. All right, coping method number 3 is humor. Laughing actually releases hormones that are linked to our relaxation response. Yes, we really do have a relaxation response built into our endocrine or autonomic nervous system. And when we laugh, just like when we hug or give high fives with oxytocin, when we laugh, the body also releases those endorphins and those hormones that triggers our relaxation response, which shuts off our stress response. So sometimes people will, in stressful situations, you might see this, they'll like inappropriately laugh, like when someone gets hurt. My daughter, boy, if you tell her a story of how you stubbed your toe, she'll laugh hysterically. And it seems inappropriate until you understand that really it makes her feel uncomfortable hearing that you hurt yourself. It's her stress response. So her body giggles because it actually bothers her more than the average person that someone got hurt. But it can be, if you're laughing when someone is telling you a really sad story, it can definitely come across inappropriate. So know your humor, know your stress response, and your relaxation response. So how to thread in more humor into your day? Well, for sure, download some joke apps. There are apps out there, joke of the day, joke of the hour, family jokes, adult jokes. I mean, there's jokes for everything. So download some great apps on your phone so that you get a joke delivered to your notification screen or your email frequently. Make jokes with your family and friends, not of your family and friends. Don't make fun of them, or don't make them the brunt of your jokes, but joke with your family and friends. Make sure they're not offensive to anyone, because then you have repairing to do or feeling guilty, but certainly sharing jokes. Laugh at yourself. Find humor in everything. Also, when you are in moments of stress or crisis or overwhelm, I beg you not to watch dramas or cop shows or those things or play violent video games. And again, I'm not saying don't do it ever, but dramas and violent shows or violent video games, something like that, definitely trigger our stress response. So research proves that. And so that just fuels our stress. So instead, watch comedies, watch comedian shows, watch funny cat videos online or animal videos online. Just find humor in something. Read a funny book or a funny story, that type thing. But laughter is essential in any given moment. Just don't laugh at people. All right, coping method number 4 is called act as if. So Basic psychology is this. Thoughts, we view the world, and then we have either a conscious or unconscious thought, and then our thoughts fuel our feelings, which really are just biological impulses that we interpret as feelings. That's why no one's feeling is the same. How someone feels love is different than another person feels love. Anger is a different way of someone else feeling anger. Guilt, different, because they're really just biological impulses that we have labeled as an emotion. So we think, we feel, then we act. And then based on how we act, that either negates our original thought or reinforces it. Okay? That's basic psychology, been around for thousands of years. It still stands today. Is thoughts, feeling, action, or cognition, affectiveness, conative. Okay, those are more technical terms, but thoughts, feelings, actions. Now, if we sometimes when we don't believe something, or we can't think positively, or we're stressed out and things just look so doom and gloom, it's hard to think anything but negative. It's hard to see the world in a positive light. Well, here's where you want to act as if. So basically what we're doing is we are reverse engineering the psychology. So when your behaviors match something you want to believe, excuse me, I'm very dry today. When your behavior, goodness, I'm almost out of water here. When your behaviors mimic something you want to be true, then feelings follow, then thoughts will follow. I'll give you an example. And this is something that I use in the 29 years of being with my husband, 28 of them married, is act as if I am madly in love. Because if anyone has been in a relationship, you don't always feel love, right? You feel, especially when you got kids involved and work and bills and you're living a life, you don't always feel madly in love, or sometimes you don't even feel in love anymore. So I make a list of all the things that I could do that if I acted as if I was madly in love with my husband, what would I do? I would run into his arms when he came home. I would text him that I love him. I would buy him gifts. I would make his favorite meal. I would let him have the big TV in the family room to watch his favorite show, and I'll go in the other room in the small TV. I would, these things. So these are the behaviors. And then all of a sudden, his responses are I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm releasing oxytocin, so I'm starting to feel a little better. And then all of a sudden, my thoughts start to follow my feelings. And then you have a different belief system. So act as if. And this works beautifully in any situation. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, or sometimes you have to act as if by using quite a few behaviors instead of just one or two things. But act as if works beautifully to help you change your belief system about what's going on. All right, number 5. This is socialize. Now, clearly, our world has a different definition of socialization now because we're currently going through some scares. So I think our definition of socialization, even after this coronavirus scare that we're all going through, is really changing, and changing for the better, or changing for the deeper meaning. Because socialization, I see we have to work at it a little bit more. We're putting time and effort. We're scheduling. We are being much more intentional about our socialization because there's so much going on virtually. So we're actually, having to be mindful and planful about our socialization, which makes it more intentional and positive instead of just, hey, you want to go grab a cup of coffee? Oh, yeah, sure, whatever. And oh, I can't go, and we cancel because things come up. I think I'm talking to a lot of people, and they have a new value. They're placing a lot of value around socialization with people right now, and that's a real positive thing. But people have a lower stress level when they regularly socialize with people they enjoy. Now, I want to stress those last four words with people they enjoy. I love my family, but that does not necessarily mean that in every situation they're the people that I want to socialize with, and that's okay. I might like to go out to coffee with a friend of mine instead of with, my husband, because quite frankly, my girlfriend and I have a better time chatting over coffee than my husband and I would. It's just not our thing. Or, one friend might be more fun and outgoing and adventurous, so that's the one you want to go to out to dinner with, where you've got another friend who's a little bit more quiet, so they're the ones you want to maybe see a movie with. So really, again, be intentional about the people you socialize with, and make sure it's going to be an enjoyable situation for both of you, and event for both of you. So talking with a friend, sharing your stress, connecting, and gaining validation helps you purge tension. So when we just get it out, right? Just when we bitch and complain and just, totally verbally vomit all over the world to just get it all out, it feels cathartic. It feels so much better. And a lot of times it's because it creates white space in our brain, where instead of keeping it all in and just thinking about it with ourselves, we just share it with the world, and then we get somebody to say, they're there. It's okay, Or better yet, get a different perspective of your situation, and with someone who's going to challenge your current worldview. Because let's not forget, if you have been following our webinars, and I hope you have, the most common and accepted definition of stress is how we perceive the world and our ability to tap into resources and coping strategies to navigate the world we see. So one of the reasons that people get in the habit of just really bitching and complaining and calling their friends and just purging their tension, which that does have a cathartic effect and helps us in the moment, for sure. It can become a bad habit. It's not something we want to continue. And so better yet, if you want long-term stress management, to not have a particular situation be a trigger for you, it's vital that you talk with someone with a different viewpoint and really help them challenge your perspective so that you can change the way you perceive the world, or give you additional coping methods to navigate that trigger. Let's keep moving along. Journaling. Journaling is a very, very effective tool in the moment. So we always tell people, carry a small notebook in your pocket throughout the day so you can jot things down. Journaling does not necessarily need to be, you've got this beautiful diary and you're sitting at this lovely desk with your favorite pen, and you have the dim lighting and you're journaling the day away. I don't have time for that. What I do though is I have several different notebooks actually, but I have a notebook that I just keep down what thoughts are going through my head in any given moment. And sometimes they're pretty ugly and negative, but I write them down, and then I can move on. But I review it before I go to bed every night. And sometimes I laugh at myself what I think throughout the day. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking in that moment? I don't think that. I don't believe that. And so it gives you an opportunity to challenge your own thoughts, because there's this theory of self-deception, which is that believing the world as we want it to be in spite of facts and evidence. And this theory of self-deception is a pretty, I don't want to say controversy. It's not a controversy. I can't say that word. Controversial. But it definitely has its opposing views in the philosophical world. Because the brain, we cannot see outside of ourselves. Meaning, people will say, "Oh, you misspoke. You said Friday and it's Thursday," and you're like, "No, I said Thursday." And they're like, "No, you didn't. You said Friday." And they're like, "I know what I said." Well, actually, you don't. It's because we talk, move so fast. Our brain is moving so fast that we actually cannot see outside of ourselves. It actually is very difficult for us to change our own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors on our own. It actually requires someone to mirror back to us, what did I say? What words did I use? That's why coaches, certified coaches like myself, are so essential to self-development, self-awareness, to therapy, to mental health and wellness, because of you really can't, the brain cannot go it alone because of this theory of self-deception. And the other thing about the theory of self-deception is that people basically lie to themselves, and they will lie to others, not maliciously, but they believe in the world that they want to live in or have so much that they're lying to themselves, so they believe what they're thinking, so they are actually, and then so when they talk to other people, they're actually lying to other people. A good example would be like, let's say you have a friend of yours who is madly in love with her boyfriend, and she just knows her boyfriend loves her, and they've got a great relationship, even though her boyfriend has said a couple times that he wants to break up with her, right? That is the theory of self-deception. So journaling, when you journal throughout the day and you get to the end of the day before you go to bed, it gives you an opportunity to challenge your thoughts and to have a conversation with yourself or with your coaches or your therapist about how you perceive the world throughout the day. So journal your thoughts throughout the day. 7, hydration. Now this seems, pretty standard. Drink more water. But listen, when you are under stress, even only a half a liter, like a little over a cup of dehydration increases your cortisol levels and results in physiological stress, that it actually is putting so much stress and strain on your internal organs that they don't function, which means your brain doesn't function, because your body needs to be in homeostasis, which means everything needs to be balanced out in order for it to function properly. Now, the old 8x8 rule, 8-ounce glasses of water 8 times a day, that's a myth. That has never been researched. That has never been proven. As a matter of fact, what has been researched and what is more supported is that you should be drinking a half an ounce to an ounce of liquid, mostly that comprises of mostly of water. So people ask me, well, does beer and wine or spirits count? I always say no. Needs to be water or flavored water or like a Gatorade or something like that. But a half an ounce to an ounce of fluid for each pound that you weigh. And yes, that sounds like a lot, but that's how much we should be drinking of water intake to keep the proper function just of our body. So now a half an ounce is if you have more of a sedentary lifestyle and you are, just kind of just living your day normal, not a lot of stress. A full ounce is after, is if you exercise heavy or if you are in high levels of stress and pressure. So make sure with that fruit and veggie that we talked about earlier and the healthy nutrition, drink your water and measure your water throughout the day. Number 8, exercise. Now, when it comes to stress, exercise is about the duration of movement and how that has an effect on your stress levels, not the intensity. So yoga, meditation, that is movement that counts towards your ability to cope with stress, okay? I'm not going to talk about cardio effect or weight loss. I'm specifically talking about interacting or intervening with your stress response to trigger that relaxation response. So you can move or exercise in any given moment. What I do a lot is I'll do deep breathing, I'll do stretches, I'll do some basic yoga poses, even in the hallway of an office. I will go up and down on my toes. I will just do bicep curls or just put my hands over my head. And sometimes if there are people around me looking at me, I pretend like I'm yawning. Oh, and just put my hands over and stretch really big. And it just feels good. So you can exercise for the purpose of stress management and relaxation. You can exercise or move in any given moment. 9, centering. So centering is a method of coping that allows you to channel those nervous and anxious or fearful emotions and energy and release it in a way that triggers your relaxation response. Okay, so centering does not necessarily need to be yoga like the photo. What it can mean, though, is just simply taking a moment to be present. Close your eyes. What I tell people is close your eyes, put your hands over your ears, and close out the world and count, and just for a few seconds. So limit the senses the brain is receiving, because that actually shuts down areas of your brain. And then say a few positive thoughts to yourself. This is okay. This is a moment, and this is going to pass. This is just happening to me right now. It is not going to be happening to me in 5 minutes. I just need to get through my 5 minutes. That's it. Or I just need to get through to the end of the day, and I'm just going to close out the world here for a few seconds. Breathe, positive affirmation, move on. Now, another way to make sure that you practice centering is to practice something in the field of psychology that we call, or in the field of SMART, stress management and resilience training. Don't forget that acronym, that we call exposure. So if you have nervous, anxious, or fearful energy around things, as much as you can be healthy, but yet just a little outside the comfort zone, is to expose yourself to the stress trigger again and again and again in a positive way so that it eventually doesn't trigger your stress response. For example, like if you're afraid of heights, start by standing on something safely, of course, safely with handles, that's just like a foot high, or then a couple feet high, or in an elevator with glass doors, or whatever. So you do a little bit more and a little bit more while centering, while being fully present, while positive energy, while being mindful, so that you can expose yourself to the stress trigger so that you can eventually get to a point where it doesn't trigger that stress response anymore. So I thank you for being with us. If you have any questions, jump on over to our Smart Pride private Facebook group page. That's where you will find me to answer your questions or engage with you. The link is always in our newsletter, always at the bottom of this webinar. Don't forget, if you want to attend live, our webinars are the second Wednesday of every month. They're 20 to 30 minutes long. I always do them, so I'm your expert in this area. If you need anything, all you got to do is ask. This is Jen. I thank you so much, and please help us by sharing information about the Smart Club with your friends and family. Let us help change the way that people view the world today. You have a great evening, everybody.